Greetings, my dears. Welcome to this video. Tonight we are going to be talking about decks for daily draws. I'm very much more of a nightly draw kind of person, so I thought it'd be nice that we would talk and share decks by moonlight and candlelight. Yeah, I'm not a huge daily draw person. So that's a disclaimer. I do them here and there, but it's very hard for me to like do something every single day in the same way every single time. Maybe that's not what people are doing. So let me know how you do it. But when I do them, I tend to really enjoy them, and I do them in a lot of different ways, I would say. And I think it depends on the deck. And so that's what we're going to talk about. I think I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And 1 honorable mention, and then 3 that I want to try, and I want to see that your feedback. Let me know if you've ever tried them. Like ones that I'm kind of thinking about trying in the future, and would love to hear your feedback on if you've tried them, what your experience has been. So yeah, let's jump into it without further ado. I feel like there's something I'm missing to say, but I'm trying to be more open-ended and just like get the camera rolling, because if I make it so that I must take notes before I start a video, then you won't get any videos, and I won't make the videos that I want to make. So if I forgot something, it'll come up as we go. Let's just jump into it. I think, which one do I want to start with first? I don't know. Which one do I want to start with first? Okay, so we're going to start with one of my favorites, which is the Dirt Gems Oracle. What I've noticed about myself is that I'm very much more of an Oracle daily draw kind of, I was going to say gal. I don't even say gal. I don't know why I was going to say that. But yeah, I'm more of a Oracle deck kind of person. Sorry about the glare. I just find them to be more open-ended for my day, and sometimes that just feels more right to me. I feel like almost there's a way that tarot always feels more divinatory as opposed to like focus based. So sometimes I want it to be more of like, what is my focus for the day? But specifically with the Dirt Gems, I will say for this one, it was a very specific time. And it was a time that I felt like I needed a reason to get out of bed. And I feel like especially the way this guidebook is written, the cards feel very supportive, at least for me. I think I know someone commented on a recent video of mine, I think it was the soft girl decks, where they said that like these plants can be, or plants in general can be very like hardcore, which I totally agree. But I think the way that this deck is set up just feels so supportive. And when I did do these daily draws, I would play this song called La Verdolaga, which I remember now that I looked it up. It's Purslane. And so I listened to that song every day. I would pull a card and I would wake up dancing. And so that was my experience with the Dirt Gems. And it felt really supportive. I felt very grounded. I felt like the plants were there to support me, to be there for me, and to guide me, my energy for the day, to sort of remind me that I am a part of the larger tapestry of life, and like everything's gonna be okay, kind of thing. So I really enjoyed that for that reason. This I know now is mass market. This is the indie version, but I highly recommend that deck. Very much enjoy it. The next deck that I'm going to share is a, what's the word? Mass market deck. How did I lose that word? It is the Urban Crow Oracle. Why? Yeah, I'm a little messy here. So it's the Urban Crow Oracle. These are the backs. I didn't show the backs on the last one. Sorry about that. But yeah, so this deck, it can be quite a little bit intense as far as like it feels, what's the word I'm looking for? Not negative, but it can just feel like it's, I don't know, what's the word I'm looking for? It feels very, just call it negative. I don't know. I feel like I didn't use this one for very long, but I did enjoy it because it gave me something different. Usually my daily draws are more so of like, okay, what's something I can focus on today? Excuse me, I'm going to sneeze. Yeah, that's if I'm going to do like a morning draw. I'm going to do like, what can I focus on today? Or what can I look out for? Something like that. Now that I'm thinking about it, I kind of want to try this for like a lesson that I can learn at the end of the day. If I haven't already tried that, I can't remember. I wrote, you know, the list down after I had like worked these decks. It's not something I kind of went into it knowing that I was going to want to like log my feedback. Yeah, I feel like this one's a little bit different if you want something. I mean, like the keywords are quite expansive, but you know, because it's crows, they can come with a lot of like heavier, maybe darker energy. But maybe that's something that you're looking for. This is really about my experience, but if it's something that inspires you or gives you an idea, I definitely highly recommend. Now, so almost as like the antithesis of that is the God, now I can't even remember the name. The EarthCraft Oracle. This one was one of my absolute favorites to do daily draws. Oh yeah, I remember getting this card. So for this deck, it was so encouraging. I feel like every day I had this like burst of like inspiration, very much similar to the Dirt Gems, but a little bit more on the emotional side. Not so much that it was meeting me in my emotion, but that it was sort of giving me an emotional angle to explore, to experience, to discover. The guidebook, it's a Hay House deck, so the guidebook is a little bit more of I don't even know how to describe it. Maybe I could just pull an example right now. Sorry for the lighting, guys. If it's distracting in any way. I'm just gonna pull this one, Wild Winds. I never actually received this one. I've never received this one. I haven't done any like spreads with this deck, which I'd be interested to do specifically. I've been getting more into doing, which is kind of embarrassing to say, but I've been getting more into doing like the spreads that come with the deck, which I don't often do, or I don't do as much. I wasn't for a long time really into doing spreads by other people. Like I struggled with them. But anyway, so we have the Wild Winds, which is card 42. So I just want to give you an example of what the guidebook says, because for a lot of these, not for every single one, but for a chunk of them, I do like to look at the guidebook a little bit so I can get a sense of it. See, that's the thing. The one thing that I don't do as much, I feel like other people talk about this, which is pulling a card daily for a deck that you're getting to know or that you just got. I kind of don't like doing that. I like putting a deck through its paces through a reading. Like, I feel like that's my way. I do like to do like an introductory spread, but I like to put it through a reading to sort of see how it reads and what it wants to talk about, as opposed to pulling every day. I don't know, it just has never worked for me. If that's, I mean, like, I feel like if there's like a deck on this list that you feel like it would be a good idea to try, no, that doesn't make any sense. Never mind. Anyway, Wild Winds. I'm a mess. Okay, so it says, do you hear the whispers in the wind? Have you ever been alone in nature when suddenly you hear a word or a sound, but no one is there? Earth Mama speaks to us in many ways, but it takes time and practice to hear her with clarity. At first, you may wonder if it's just your mind playing tricks on you. Do not allow doubt to block the wisdom of the earth. The Wild Winds card commonly appears when a spirit or the universe has sent you messages in the form of synchronicities or patterns, like recurring numbers, symbols, colors, and shapes that you missed. This card is a nudge to open your senses to the messages that you have been closed off to. Sometimes a message can be so clear that it becomes overwhelming. Other times, messages are so subtle that you must be completely calm and still to see them. Either way, you're being called to make sense of the little clues being left for you. To do so, you must listen to your heart and trust that you know what is being presented to you. Don't overthink the synchronicities that come into your life. Do not try to approach them with logic and reason. Feel them in your spirit and know that your first instinct is often the correct one. And it also has a Wild Winds jar spell. So I think, I'm like, I don't even remember. I should have checked this beforehand. Do they all come with a spell? Yeah, they all come with like a little thing. Affirmation, ritual, spell, something like that. Invocation, journaling prompt, something like that. They all, which is really nice. So, I mean, like, it's very explorative in that sense. Whereas I feel like the Dirt Gems is very like earthy in the ground, grounding, and very like almost like dense energy to like really root you in. This one feels like, ooh, like earth in the sense of, yeah, like, and like the wind. Like, it's kind of like giving you something to think about, giving you something to feel, something to explore. It's very, very soft and chill in that sense, but sometimes it's not so chill, you know, karmic debt, that's not super chill, but it's a beautiful, beautiful deck. And I really, yeah, I really enjoyed this one when I worked with it. Yeah, these are the decks that I associate in general with the daily draws because I had such poignant experiences with them. Now here. Oh, okay, you know what? Actually, before I get into this next one, which is my top number... No, I'll leave that one for the end. I'll leave my top #1 daily draw deck to the end. So, next one, let's get into a tarot because those were all Oracle. So let's jump into a tarot. For this one, we are going to chat about... Do you recognize these backs? This is a trimmed deck. This is the highly reflective Druidcraft tarot. Now this one, I sort of... When I knew I wanted to make this video, I tried this one. And it was really nice. I felt like it was... How do I describe this? It was divinatory and it was kind of all of the above. It had such... It packed a punch. I mean, if you've worked with this deck in, you know, in readings and spreads and things like that, then you may know what I'm talking about. It's so multifaceted and multi-use. There's so much that you can do with it. And so I feel like that came through with my daily draws. I pull them day and night. So not twice in a day, but sometimes during the day, sometimes at night. I think there was once or twice that I did do it day and night and sort of like wrapped it up. And so that was quite nice. I feel like there's an example right there. There's so many different ways that you can use this deck. And it really, yeah, you could just do anything with it. It felt like it struck the emotional tone. It struck the divinatory tone. It taught me things. It helped me channel my energy. It was very revelatory. Yeah, I feel like I had really nice revelations. Nothing like earth-shattering, like major, right? But it was a nice companion through the days. Like, I don't know, it's a really good one. I feel like maybe it's because of the artwork is just so expressive and so expansive. Like, there's just so much to it. There's so much you can do with it. So, highly recommend the Druidcraft because not only for daily draws, but you can use it for so many things. I'm going to do another tarot. This one I used almost strictly, especially after like realizing that it was suited for that. I kind of want to shuffle it. I use this one strictly to tell me about my day at the beginning of the day. And I really enjoyed that process. I would say this one I worked with the longest time ago. This is the Antique Anatomy. These are the backs for the reflection. Yeah, this is the Antique Anatomy, and I found immediately that this one wanted to be a lot more practical, a lot more like direct of like, okay, this is what you're gonna face today. This is what you're going to want to focus your attention on, some obstacles you might face. And I felt that it was fairly accurate. I you know, like I said, I'm not super big on daily draws, so it's not something I really like recorded and did any sort of like, you know, follow up on. It was just something I kind of did in flow, and I really enjoyed it. I felt like it's not something I do very often, so I might want to pick it up again to get that experience again. But I really did like the fact that it suited itself to something. It said very specifically to me anyway, this is what I want to be used for. This is what I'm good at. Then let's just do that. Like, let's just focus on, this is kind of what you're going to face. Like, it gave me a more, and it's interesting because even pip decks don't always give me this sort of flat, not flat is, oh God, that's a really bad word, but like straightforward. That's what I mean by flat. Straightforward in the sense that like, it's all very clear. It's all very on the surface. Like there's not a lot of like confusion, deeper meaning. I don't often get that even with pip decks that are like less expressive than this. So I found it really interesting that for me, the Antique Anatomy was like, yeah. It's going to be, you know, we're going to be feeling emotions. Like it's going to be, you know, soul journey, aura cleanse, the void, wake up potion, despair, let go, and some other hidden feelings that are going to come up. It's just, you're gonna feel a lot of emotion. It's not all going to be great. You're going to kind of want to shake it off. And that's what you're probably going to want to face. And then what you're going to want to do about that is just, you know, take your time and try to learn what you can learn from it. Very straightforward. Pretty cool, honestly, if you ask me, because like I said, not very much how I often do daily draws. Especially because, like, I don't be having the energy or desire to come back and be like, okay, did this work out? Let me write it down. Like, I'm not a daily draw journaler. So for me, it's like, if it's not something I'm going to come back to per se, if it's not something I can sort of ingest and take in the moment and feel almost like this, I don't know, if it's not integrative, I feel like sort of that divinatory of like what I'm going to face, it doesn't feel integrative in the long term, which is not true, but it just doesn't feel that way on the surface. I feel like we're learning a lot about me right now, and I don't know how I feel about it. Let's go into another oracle really quick. But yeah, that I think maybe that dropped a card. I'll have to remember to pick that up because I do not want to bend over right now. This is the, sorry, I'm a little bit sniffly. Just from sneezing and stuff. This is the Woodland Wardens, and so for this one, this I like how I clearly lied. I said, oh yeah, I'm more of like a nightly draw, and almost every deck I'm like, yeah, I pull that in the morning. I pull that in the morning. I think I find more. It goes deeper for me. It goes way deeper when I do it at night. And I think it's because I had such a big experience, and I've talked about this in another video, when I used to work with, which I didn't put on this list because one of them's out of print and it's just not a practice that I engage with anymore. And it wasn't so much a daily draw as it was a specific practice that I did for like reparenting, which was the Antiquarian and the Madonnas and Virgins decks. I think I talked about it a long time ago. I don't even know if that video, I still have it up on the channel. But I think it's because I did that nightly practice that I have it associated in my head that I'm a nightly draw person, even though all of these are daily draws. So you've caught me in quite a bit of a, I wouldn't say lie, I wouldn't say conundrum, but a bit of interesting position that I'm in, or that I hold. Is the narrative that I'm telling even accurate? It definitely calls into question how we interpret our experiences and how we would describe them, though. And I'm so happy to be the guinea pig on such a topic. Yeah, I really liked this deck for it. It felt like it. I loved the keywords, were really fun. And just being able to like connect with a plant energy and an animal energy in one day. Sorry, I'm not gonna lie, I don't really like that animal very much. At least not looking at it, something about it. You know, I try not to have that experience, and I try to work on that with a lot of animals, and I've come a long way, my dear. If you knew how I used to be with animals, you would not recognize me today. Anyway, yeah, I really liked the keywords, and I liked connecting with a plant and an animal every day. This is my deer. See, you would think what I just said about animals, right? That this would be an animal that I would absolutely not want to be around. I'd be like, heck no, don't ever put me around this animal. It's not for me. Ew, right? When I was a child, I used to collect these off the sidewalk, put them in a butter container with dirt and leaves, and then I would get caught, and then they would have to release them back into the wild. But I would try to hide them, and I would let them scurry up my arm. Very interesting, because I'm not that kind of, I'm not that kind of person. Would I do that today? No, I wouldn't. No, I would not do that today. I would not. I would absolutely not. And would anyone have described me as one of those kids who picks up bugs? No, they wouldn't. But for snails, I did it. I had something with snails. I don't know what it is. If you know snails really deeply, you know, you let me know. What is it? What's even the keyword for snails on this one? Wait, hold on a second. Oh God, not that again. Trust in the invisible. Well, there you go. That tells you something about me. I feel like, ooh, this is kind of a fun learning video. I did not expect this video to be quite, like we would be learning about myself so deeply. And how my narratives of myself are inconsistent with my reality. Okay, that's kind of a generalization. Let's not take it too far. That's not totally true. That's just in this scenario. Next deck. Fiodor Pavlov. Taro. This one. Man, I haven't worked with this deck in a minute. It's so nice. It's so nice to shuffle. It gives you sort of all the good experiences. It gives you good cardstock. It gives you good imagery. It's so beautifully well-rounded. It's, has diverse elements to it. It's a beautiful deck. And when it comes to the guidebook, which I like to pull out, I will say for the Woodland Wardens, the guidebook is not super... Actually, yeah, let me backtrack just a second so I can talk to you about that. Sorry for the fuck up there. Because I do want to mention the guidebook, because for this one I did often, and for a lot of them I did often read the guidebook. For example, the hound... No, actually, let's go to the snail. What number is the snail? Okay, so for the snail and Trust in the Invisible, this is what you're going to get for that guidebook entry, if you can see that. I can't really tell from here. But what I like is that it has questions, and at the bottom it says, when have I benefited from trusting in subtle cues, and also how can I look beyond appearances toward deeper meaning? So it has it has a little description. It has an upright and reverse meaning, which I don't work with reversals. I don't reverse decks, and it's generally purely a visual thing. I have a hard time reading cards upside down. Sorry, I didn't notice my battery was dying. But yeah, it just kind of fucks with my brain. It really is just a visual thing. I have a hard time reading, and it sort of interrupts my flow of reading the cards in front of me, reading the spread. So I don't often do it. There's certain decks that I do it with, or certain situations where I will do reversals, but it's not quite often. So I read both and see where it applies, and I like the questions in here. So every card has 2 questions at the bottom, and I keep pulling up to this card, so maybe this is a little message for somebody if you can read that. But yeah, the Hound and Pear. So back to Fiodor Pavlov. Beautiful deck, beautiful artwork, hardcover guidebook. Hardcover. You've probably heard of it. Highly recommend this deck. I think it's great for beginners. It's giving the RWS, it's giving it in a very cool, old but new style. Gosh, I'm sneezing so much. Sorry, guys. Yeah, so I think it'd be really great for new beginners and folks who want to learn the tarot. And the guidebook is really nice. Oh, I'm actually going to use this one as an example, because apparently that's what we're doing now. What's that? The Two of Cups. I think it's a good entry. I feel like it's a good amount. And it talks about the artwork. It talks about traditional meanings. Talks about reversals. And I just feel like the way that it's written is really well done. So I find that it gives a varied perspective of the card while still remaining quite traditional. So what I loved about this, and I think this is very similar to the Druidcraft, is that it gives a very nuanced and expansive expression. Sorry, there's nudity in this deck. I don't even know what cards I've shown so far, so I apologize if I didn't properly notify you of that. If that's something that needed to be properly notified, my deepest apologies. But yeah, I find it to be very versatile as far as readings go. And maybe that's a theme here. The more Rider-Waite-Smithy it is, kind of more versatile it is. Is that a thing? Is that what I'm saying here? I don't know, y'all. It sounds like that's what I'm saying. The Thoth could be a really good daily draw card, but I personally haven't done it, so I personally can't talk about it. Maybe that's one I'll try. Let me know if you've done it. What's your experience with it? But yeah, I find this deck to be very beautiful and easily could expand into a 3-card reading per day instead of just one. Daily draws aren't just one card, but I think, I think the Fiodor Pavlov is a great balanced deck that allows you to sort of get a very diverse experience when it comes to daily draw. Emotional, practical, warnings, focuses, whatever the case may be, you can sort of use it for anything, I feel like. At least that was my experience with it, was that it gave me, it felt like it presented me with many options. And so I could sort of go in any direction that I felt like for any given day. And it reads really well for spreads and readings, so highly recommend that. Next for a tarot deck. So this one is an indie deck, and I don't even know if it's available right now. So I apologize if it's not available. But it is tarot as color. Is that gonna show up? Can you see that, baby? That's bright. That's bright. So this is a big deck, and the card on top. And I use this deck very specifically. So some of the other ones I haven't really used them in a very specific way. Like Fiodor Pavlov, not very specific. Woodland Wardens, not very specific. Kind of nothing else except for Dirt Gems, I would say, came through at a very specific time for a specific practice that I was doing around it. And I would say the same goes for this deck. I used it in a very specific way with a very specific type of practice. How many times have I said specific? Take a shot every time. But yeah, so for this deck, it's very, if you've seen it before, it's all like inky abstract art. So the way that I use this deck, and I didn't figure this out for myself. Like, almost like the Antique Anatomy, it sort of called itself out and said, this is what I want to do. It was just so immediate. I would pull a card, and as I would look at it, I felt like it was telling me something. Like I sort of heard this encouraging sentence and method. I'm going to pull up some examples of it so that I could share with you guys. Give me 1 second. Yeah, okay, so I'm going to share them in just a second. So pretty much what it was very much like an energy reading of the day. So I would read the energy. Well, that's what it felt like. It was like telling me about the energy of the day. Like I was just reading the pure energy of that sort of 24-hour period. Or at least, from when I woke up to when I went to sleep. Which is not 24 hours. Which actually it has been 24 hours. It's not often anymore, thankfully. But it has been quite a few more times than I would care to discuss or experience again. No, thank you. But essentially, what I would do is I would read the energy. I would pull a card, and I would get this sentence. This is not for this card, but I would just give you an example really quick, where I would say, settle in the joy that you have a moment to breathe. Re-engage with the struggle after you meet your needs. That's kind of what I would get. Here's another example. Not the card, but just an example. Your work is good. Your work is beautiful. Your work is powerful. What you create with your heart is peace. What you co-create with others is an emanation of love. Continue to practice and celebrate the work of your soul. Witness your passion breathing in each moment. Kind of works for the Ace of Cups. Let's see if I can grab one more from somewhere. Oh, actually, so I just found the one that I did for the Ace of Cups. This was on February 2nd of this year. So for the Ace of Cups, because we're going to do it twice, could be a reading for you. Be in a new emotional space. Notice the little things and flow with what you're given in the moment. Know how to delineate a feeling from a thought so that you're able to live the full potential in a healthy way. So yeah, the energy was not always like, it was sometimes advice, it was sometimes an encouragement, or just, a passing statement or thought. Not this one, but I'll give you one last example. This was on January 29th. This one was one I very, very much enjoyed. Highly recommend. I think it's beautiful. I actually got the idea from Thea at Garden Goddess Tarot because she said she worked with The Days of Creation by Scylla Conway, if that's correct. I hope that's correct. But she said that she worked with that card. She worked with that deck every day. It was like her daily draw deck that she drew every day. And so once I got this deck, I was like, ooh, this feels like a similar sort of like abstract energy. And it immediately worked for me. Like I was immediately getting a very clear couple sentences or a paragraph of just like, this is kind of what's going on. This is how to process it. And it was always very, I don't want to say straightforward. It was just always very like encouraging. Like it felt generative. Like it was helping me co-create with the energy around me, co-create with the universe. It felt like almost like a direct message from the energy itself. Anyway, here's the last example. You are going to show yourself beautiful strength today. A reminder that your resilience is magical. The way you are soft with yourself amazes me every day. The way you remain soft to the world is a gift. I am reminded of my words written about remaining soft and loving that about myself. I have come so far, and yes, I am a flaming sword, a spark of lightning. That was for the strength card, but kind of works for this. I'm going to actually pull out the strength card because I think that one's like a really good example. Did I already pull it? You guys are going to tell me. Oh, Jesus Christ. Thank you. Okay. Found it. That was the message for the strength card. I loved that I said, I've come so far, and yes, I am a flaming sword, a spark of lightning. I just love that. Do you feel it? Do you see it? Does it resonate? I love that. Okay, so that is the tarot as color. It's life as color, energy, life, fire, all of the good shit. I love this deck so much, and I kind of primarily use it for that purpose. I have not... I found that it pairs beautifully, which I haven't done like a full reading, but I like to play with pairs. You know, I like to just throw them around and see what sticks. Absolutely stunning and beautiful with the Wild Unknown Alchemy deck, and I believe that it could possibly work with any of Kim Kranz's decks because of the sort of flashes of color that she puts in her decks. So highly recommend putting those together, and maybe I'll put, and I think Dream of Nile also goes really well with it. I don't remember correctly, so don't quote me. Okay, so we have, I think, one last deck and an honorable mention, so let's just do those. So the last deck, which is my absolute favorite deck to do daily draws with, it was the one and only time I have ever felt that I do not want to put this deck down. I do not want to stop working with it on a daily basis. I felt like it held me down. It told me everything I needed to know. It met me right where I was. It was like the fucking best. My personal experience is this. I'm not going to attempt to say it. No, I'm just going to say it how I say it, which is Poesis. I think this deck, here are the backs. I forgot to show the backs on some of the other cards. This deck is just, it's perfectly concise. It's perfectly simple, perfectly explanatory, expository, whatever. It just is. You know what I mean? It's like Agua Viva. The book. I don't know. Sorry. That was random. It just exists and meets you where you are. I got this card so many fucking times when I did these. But I just always felt like it was so supportive. It was so long ago, so I don't even fully remember like any particular moment where it was, but I just remember feeling like, wow, I have never, this must be what people are talking about when they work with decks and they feel like the deck just works for them. And when they do daily draws, this must be the reason why they do daily draws. Because if it works like this every day for other people, then shit, by golly, I'd be doing it too. And so I should probably pick it up, but I just haven't, I've had it out. I pulled it out recently, and I'll just show this last one. But I haven't worked with it. I actually pulled it out for my lunar practice, and so I did it for my first quarter reading. And so that was really lovely. Which is, I think the two prompts that I use for that is what to keep up and what to slow down. So what to accelerate and what to kind of stop. So kind of what is going really well and what's not going great and kind of getting in the way. Don't remember what I got. But it's on my phone. I took a picture. So it excels in readings. It's beautiful in readings, but man, I think it shines in daily draws. It really does. But I've heard beautiful and amazing reviews for that deck, so I think it's a wonderful one to get your hands on if it's still available, which I'll try to let you know in the description if that's the case. So this is my last one. This is my honorable mention because this deck is definitely out of print, and so I didn't really want to like lead with it or put it in as some sort of just like as like any of the others. But this is the Majestic Earth Tarot. This, almost like the Antique Anatomy, feels very much so like a lot more practical. I felt like, but you know, I think it's because it's landscape. It's sort of the environment. It's not, it's kind of just, and because maybe there's words on it. I don't know what it is about it, but it felt, it felt balanced. Like it wasn't like it was all, it wasn't as far as the Antique Anatomy saying, yeah, I don't have anything else to tell you. Because it just is what it is. But it was really nice because it has like the words on it and the sort of, The landscape gives you this feeling of expansion, but it's also quite specific at the same time. So like this Steward of Stone, I would just, I'd feel like I'd be sitting down and maybe this is a day to really focus on what I can learn, focus on, channeling my energy into into the quiet, into the messages that I receive or the messages that I'm sending, focusing on communication and et cetera, et cetera. For this card, I would absolutely be thinking about trying not to be melodramatic, trying not to make, what do they call a mountain out of a molehill? Or maybe I'm just going to be facing some shit today. But yeah, I felt like it struck that balance between divinatory, sort of practical advice and a focus for the day, that kind of thing. It's a really nice focus for the day. It also excels in reading, but, it's not like you can get your hands on it, at least not, you could probably get it secondhand, but I don't know what it's going for these days, so. But yeah, I really enjoyed this one as well. I think this one would be good for also like a 3-card draw, as well as the Poesis as well. I think that would be great for a 3-card draw, but I haven't used this one in quite a bit, but I always enjoy it when I do. It feels very straightforward, but still expansive enough that it doesn't feel like the Antique Anatomy, which I'm not shitting on, by the way. I think it's great. It's just not my personal style. Very much, certainly not for daily draws, but I feel like it struck that balance really nicely. And so I'm just going to talk about 3 decks real quick. I'm not going to show them to you, but I do want to know if you've ever worked with these. Let me know your thoughts on them. I want to try Tongues of the Mother for daily draws. I'm kind of shocked that I haven't actually ever tried it for daily draws, mostly just for reading. So am I not going to show you? I'll just show you a couple cards really quick. It's a grayscale deck. It's black and white, if you will. There's not much going on. It's very understated in the artwork. And so I'd be really intrigued because of the Antique Anatomy to see like how it reads for a daily draw. I think that would be quite interesting to see kind of what direction it wants me to go in, what kind of thing it wants to tell me about my day. This one I might use this one at night. I feel like it'd be a good, like, what do I need to learn today, or what lesson did I need to learn today? I think the Druidcraft was really good at that. And so I'd be really curious to see how this one works. If you've used it, let me know. I love how I said I wasn't going to show you, and then I did end up showing you, because how do I talk about a deck and not show it? That's just my struggle. Next, let me know if you use the Seasons of the Witch decks. I want to try these. Right now I only have 4. I have Samhain, Yule, Beltane, and Mabon? Yeah. Those are the 4 that I have. I'd be very intrigued to see how it works. I'm curious. If you have tried it, let me know. These are just a couple of cards of kind of what the deck looks like. The topics that it covers, obviously, Beltane. I wanted to get the Litha one, but I don't currently have it just yet. I mean, it's just kind of like a collector's thing. Especially also, I think I'm a bigger fan of the more current, the current style of artwork. But I think they're both very beautiful, and it's nice to have the variety to be able to work with different kinds of decks. So if you've worked with these, definitely share your thoughts, let me know. And there's one more that I want to try. This one's a lot deeper of a one, which it reminds me almost of the Dirt Gems. So it's like, do you really think you can work with one deck as a daily draw? It seems kind of a little too big and intense. Let's start with, this is the Sacred Hags. This is the backs. I don't have the box with me right now. I have it in a bag because the box is kind of fucking annoying. But yeah, I want to work with this one as a daily draw. I haven't done it. Oh yes, and you know why? Actually, that's a lie. That's a fucking lie. That is a fucking lie. Oh my gosh, guys, I'm so sorry. I've just spent this video lying to you. I forgot that I used this one now that I pulled it out. Oh my gosh, I completely forgot. I did use it, but it was for a very short time, which is probably why it did not cross my mind when I was racking my brain in the past and looking at all my decks and being like, which ones have I used for daily draws? I did use this one, and the reason why I remember is because it actually has an evening and morning ritual for every single card, if I'm not mistaken. And I remember doing it, and it was really nice, but it felt like too much of an expectation. Like, I don't like people telling me what rituals to do. I'm not gonna lie to you. So even when I do, what deck was I working with recently that, like, it's like an Alana Fairchild deck, like when she has those like rituals after every single card, I'm just like, no, I don't want to do that. That's not what I want to do. Every once in a while, quite rarely, I'll do it. These ones I think are a lot, I don't want to say better, but more suited to me. as something that I would want to do, I'd be like, all right, fine, I'll do it. Like, I think it's a good idea. Like, I read through it. It looks really good. It's aligned with me. I'll do it. So that one I want to get back into, but maybe I find a way to modify them. If you've tried to find a way to modify them, sometimes they just feel like too big of energy for me to sit down and do. Maybe this would be good for nighttime only. Anyway, let me know. So yeah, that's all I got for today, guys. Sorry for the meandering path that I really took you on with, you know, some two truths and a lie. I hope you got something out of this video other than just a good time. But if that's all you had, then, you know, it's a win. And I'm so glad that you were here with me. Let me know your thoughts. I'm very eager to know you guys' experience with daily draws. And I love you dearly. Thank you so much for being here. You're the best. And yeah, consider giving the video a like if you liked it, and subscribe, and, you know, all that stuff. But I'll see you in my next video.